Welcome to another episode of Top 10 Detective examining the least popular American presidents of all time. Numerous surveys rank American presidents, often reflecting the political biases of the participants. However, this video offers a unique perspective on the rankings, presenting the opinions of a group of self-proclaimed experts who consider Joe Biden to be the worst president in U.S. history. The United States has had 46 presidents, including the current president, Joe Biden, who assumed office in 2021. Grover Cleveland is notable for being both the 22nd and 24th president, as he served 2 non-consecutive terms. While some presidents are celebrated for their progressive policies and visionary leadership, others have faced harsh criticism for their actions. In this video, we will examine the administrations of the 10 worst U.S. presidents, focusing on the decisions and failures that have earned them a place on this list. Historians and journalists frequently publish rankings of U.S. presidents, but these often reveal more about the political leanings of the compilers than provide objective evaluations. For a more balanced perspective, we must first acknowledge that presidents are not solely responsible for everything that happens in the country. For example, Ford's victory over Ferrari was not influenced by any presidential actions. It's important not to assign credit or blame for every national success or failure to the occupant of the White House. Moreover, presidential performance is a mix of domestic and foreign policy. Evaluating a president's legacy is like assessing a fruit salad of their entire time in office, complex and multifaceted. The video concludes by ranking the 10 worst presidents in U.S. history in chronological order, from the earliest to the most recent, highlighting their major shortcomings and missteps during their time in office. Number 10. Zachary Taylor, 12th President, 1849-1850. Born on November 24, 1784, Zachary Taylor served as president from March 4, 1849, until his death on July 9, 1850. Taylor, a war hero, is often forgotten due to his brief time in office and his lack of political experience. Falling ill during a 4th of July celebration, he became one of the 8 U.S. presidents to die while in office. Taylor, more a military leader than a politician, was raised in Kentucky and fought in key battles during the War of 1812 and the Mexican-American War. Despite his reputation as a rugged soldier, some colleagues saw him as unpolished, and he was sometimes mistaken for a farmer due to his simple appearance. However, his leadership earned the admiration of Abraham Lincoln, who praised his ability to prevail in battle. In 1848, the Whig Party saw potential in Taylor. Though he was a slave owner who supported slavery in the South, he was also strongly opposed to secession and the expansion of slavery into new territories. Some historians suggest his opposition to the Compromise of 1850 might have hastened the onset of the Civil War, but Taylor's untimely death cut short any confrontation. After just over a year in office, Taylor passed away, leaving behind a presidency largely defined by unrealized potential. Number 9. Millard Fillmore, 13th President, 1850-1853. Millard Fillmore became president following the death of Zachary Taylor, serving from July 9, 1850 to March 4, 1853. Born on January 7, 1800, Fillmore rose from humble beginnings in a log cabin in central New York to a career in law and teaching before entering politics. As vice president, he was relatively overlooked, but he gained Taylor's attention by supporting the Compromise of 1850, which Taylor had strongly opposed. The Compromise of 1850, consisting of 5 bills including the controversial fugitive slave law, sought to address tensions over slavery. While Taylor resisted the compromise, Fillmore embraced it, believing it would prevent a national crisis. Though his actions may have delayed the Civil War, critics argue that peace came at an unacceptable moral cost, as the compromise strengthened the institution of slavery. 20 years later, the New York Times remarked that Fillmore's greatest flaw was seeing slavery as a political issue rather than a moral one. In hindsight, many view his stance as a significant misstep. Number 8. Franklin Pierce, 14th President, 1853-1857. Franklin Pierce, born on November 23, 1804, served as president from March 4, 1853 to March 4, 1857. William R. King was his vice president. Pierce, a staunch advocate of American expansion, pursued policies that expanded the nation's borders, but also contributed to the growing tensions over slavery, setting the stage for the Civil War. A Democrat from New Hampshire, Pierce was labeled a doughface by his Whig opponents, a term for a Northerner with Southern sympathies. As president, Pierce fervently supported the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which effectively nullified the Missouri Compromise and allowed for the possibility of expanding slavery into new territories. Pierce's ambitions extended beyond U.S. borders. He proposed annexing Cuba, even suggesting the use of force if necessary. However, his opponents revealed the plan, forcing him to abandon it. Pierce's presidency is remembered for his ineffective leadership and policies that deepened national divisions, contributing to the eventual outbreak of the Civil War. Number 7. James Buchanan, 15th President, 1857-1861. James Buchanan, born on April 23, 1791, served as president from March 4, 1857 to March 4, 1861, with John Breckinridge as his vice president. Buchanan is often criticized for his failure to confront the growing divide over slavery and for his inaction as Southern states moved towards secession, which ultimately led to the Civil War. The only bachelor to ever hold the presidency, Buchanan, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, personally condemned slavery as a moral wrong. However, like many of his party, he refused to challenge the legal system that upheld it. Before his presidency, he supported policies, such as the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, that allowed the expansion of slavery into new territories, effectively weakening the Missouri Compromise. Buchanan's legacy suffers most from his passive response to secession. After Abraham Lincoln's election, several Southern states made their intentions clear to leave the Union. Buchanan, claiming the Constitution did not grant him the authority to prevent secession, chose to do nothing, allowing the crisis to worsen under his watch. Number 6. Andrew Johnson, 17th President, 1865-1869. Andrew Johnson, born on December 29, 1808, served as president from April 15, 1865, following the assassination of Abraham Lincoln until March 4, 1869. A Southern Democrat who opposed Reconstruction efforts, Johnson is largely remembered for his conflict with Congress and his failed policies that obstructed civil rights for newly freed African Americans. Johnson, a North Carolina native with a humble background, worked as a tailor before entering politics in Tennessee as a Jacksonian Democrat. He rose to prominent positions, including U.S. Senator, before becoming Lincoln's vice president in 1864. Upon assuming the presidency, Johnson's opposition to key Reconstruction policies, such as the 14th Amendment, which granted citizenship to former slaves, led to his impeachment by Congress, though he narrowly avoided removal from office. Johnson's disdain for radical Republicans and his leniency toward former Confederates hampered efforts to rebuild the South on the principles of equality. He vetoed civil rights legislation and the renewal of the Freedmen's Bureau, signaling his resistance to securing the rights of African Americans. His legacy is marked by his inability to navigate the post-Civil War era effectively and his failure to support the welfare of emancipated people. Number 5. Warren G. Harding, 29th President, 1921-1923. Warren G. Harding, born on November 2, 1865, served as president from March 4, 1921, until his sudden death on August 2, 1923. Calvin Coolidge was his vice president. Harding's presidency is remembered not for his policies, but for the numerous scandals that plagued his administration. Harding, a former newspaper publisher from Ohio, was affable, good-looking, and eager to please. Despite these qualities, Harding himself admitted he was unfit for the office, famously stating, "I am not fit for this office and should never have been here." His presidency became a symbol of political corruption, as his friends and appointees used their government positions for personal gain. The most infamous of these scandals was the Teapot Dome affair, in which government oil reserves were leased to private companies for bribes. Harding was also known for his personal scandals, including extramarital affairs. His administration was characterized by its lax oversight and a lack of leadership. Despite his popularity during his lifetime, his reputation quickly deteriorated after his death, as investigations into his administration's corruption came to light. Harding died in office, likely from a stroke, leaving behind a legacy of scandal and incompetence. Number 4. Herbert Hoover, 31st President, 1929-1933. Herbert Hoover, born on August 10, 1874, and serving as president from March 4, 1929 to March 4, 1933, is often remembered for his poor communication and policies that worsened the Great Depression. A former mining engineer and Stanford graduate from Iowa, Hoover had previously gained praise for his humanitarian work in post-World War I Europe and had served as Secretary of Commerce under Presidents Harding and Coolidge. When the Great Depression struck just months into his presidency, Hoover responded by cutting taxes and launching public works projects to increase employment. However, his refusal to provide direct federal aid to struggling Americans and his strict adherence to conservative economic principles. Hoover's greatest weakness may have been his inability to communicate effectively with the public, which led to his being perceived as indifferent and insensitive. This, combined with his failure to alleviate the economic crisis, sealed his reputation as a president who aggravated the Great Depression rather than resolving it. Number 3. Jimmy Carter, 39th President, 1977-1981. Jimmy Carter, born on October 1, 1924, served as president from January 20, 1977 to January 20, 1981. A one-term president, Carter lost his bid for re-election in 1980 to Ronald Reagan, largely due to a series of domestic and international crises. Carter's administration faced rising inflation, the Soviet Union's invasion of Afghanistan, and most damaging of all, the Iran hostage crisis, in which 52 American diplomats were held captive for 444 days. Carter's handling of the hostage crisis is often cited as the most significant blow to his presidency. The failed military operation to rescue the hostages, combined with daily media coverage under the title "America Held Hostage," created the image of a president powerless to resolve the situation. This perception of ineffectiveness, along with his lack of charisma and media savvy compared to other presidents like Reagan or Clinton, further hurt his public standing. Additionally, Carter was accused of mishandling relations with Iran by allegedly supporting the 1979 revolution that overthrew the Shah, which led to the rise of Ayatollah Khomeini and the establishment of a religious dictatorship. This not only worsened his image at the time, but also contributed to decades of strained U.S.-Iran relations. Nonetheless, his presidency is primarily remembered for the crises that consumed it, particularly the Iran hostage situation, which many believe contributed to his political downfall. Number 2. Barack Hussein Obama, 44th President, 2009-2017. Barack Obama, born on August 4, 1961, served as president from January 20, 2009 to January 20, 2017. While Obama made over 500 promises during his 2008 campaign, including a commitment to make congressional bills public 72 hours before voting, many of these were left unfulfilled. Among the most controversial aspects of his presidency was his administration's dealings with Iran, including a significant financial agreement that critics claim indirectly funded terrorist groups. Obama's legacy was marred by various unresolved controversies, such as the delay in releasing his birth certificate, which fueled conspiracy theories, and personal matters regarding his family that some questioned without evidence. During his campaign, he spoke of hope and change, but critics argue that these promises fell short, especially for the struggling middle-class Americans. Some also accused him of making statements suggesting that the elite should make decisions for the general public, painting a picture of an administration disconnected from ordinary Americans. Economically, Obama's financial situation raised eyebrows. He began his presidency with a net worth of around $1 million, but left office with an estimated $40 million, leading to speculation about how this growth occurred given his presidential salary. In terms of accomplishments, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, stands out as Obama's most notable legislative achievement. However, his presidency is often described as lacking major achievements after the healthcare bill's passage. By 2010, his political fortunes declined as Republicans capitalized on dissatisfaction with the slow economic recovery and perceptions that his policies favored Wall Street over Main Street. The midterm elections that year resulted in significant Republican gains, making it harder for Obama to advance his agenda. Foreign policy: Obama's biggest failing? Obama inherited complex foreign policy challenges, including the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. However, his approach, which focused on ending these conflicts rather than winning them, left him vulnerable to criticism. His dismissal of ISIS as a JV team proved a major misstep as the group became a dominant terrorist force. Furthermore, his failure to address Russia's growing aggressiveness, including its annexation of Crimea in 2014 and China's expanding influence in the South China Sea, are seen as significant shortcomings. During a 2012 debate, Obama famously mocked Mitt Romney for labeling Russia as America's top geopolitical threat, a statement that now seems prescient in light of Russia's actions in Ukraine. Despite promising transparency, Obama's administration faced criticism for being one of the least transparent, particularly toward the media. Number 1. Joe Biden, 46th President, 2021-2025. Joe Biden, born on November 20th, 1942, became president during a time of great economic and social upheaval. Inflation, at its highest since the 1980s, has been a significant source of dissatisfaction among Americans. Rising childcare costs, dependence on foreign energy sources, and the student loan forgiveness controversy are all issues that have defined Biden's presidency. Biden faced criticism for bypassing the Supreme Court when attempting to cancel $500 billion in student loan debt, a plan that was eventually blocked. Additionally, his handling of national security has been scrutinized, including the response to a Chinese spy balloon that traversed U.S. airspace, and his perceived weakness in dealing with Iran's aggression toward U.S. forces. The southern border crisis reached unprecedented levels under Biden, with record numbers of encounters in fiscal year 2023. On the international stage, Biden has been accused of giving Russia a strategic victory by blocking a clear path for Ukraine to join NATO, a decision that frustrated many allies. Domestically, Biden's unpopularity is significant, and he has faced allegations of corruption involving international dealings with countries like China and Ukraine. His mental fitness has been questioned, as his public appearances have decreased, and his controversial decision to withdraw U.S. troops from Afghanistan resulted in the deaths of 13 service members and the abandonment of $85 billion worth of military equipment to the Taliban. He was reportedly compelled to withdraw from the re-election race, citing health reasons as the cause. Finally, the presidents on this list have faced significant criticism for their actions and policies, which, in the eyes of many, fell short of the standards expected of a U.S. president. While each leader confronted unique challenges and circumstances, their legacies reflect the broader complexities of American history and governance. By examining these legacies, we gain a deeper understanding of the intricate forces that have shaped the nation. The choices these presidents made, whether in times of war, economic hardship, or societal upheaval, offer valuable lessons about leadership and its far-reaching consequences. Each administration provides insight into the enduring impact of presidential decisions on the country and its people. This analysis also underscores the importance of holding leaders accountable for their actions. The presidency is a position of immense responsibility, requiring a steadfast commitment to the nation's well-being and progress. When leaders fall short of these ideals, it highlights the need for ongoing vigilance and a collective dedication to upholding the highest standards of governance. Reflecting on the legacies of these presidents deepens our understanding of American history and reinforces the principle that leadership demands wisdom, integrity, and a strong adherence to the values upon which the nation was built. Ultimately, the decisions made by those in power have lasting effects, shaping the future and the lives of countless individuals. It is a reminder that responsible leadership is essential to the pursuit of a better, more just future for all. Thank you for watching Top 10 Detective and looking forward to seeing you in another episode of Top 10 Detective in the future. Please subscribe to the channel so you will not miss out on upcoming videos. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Also, let us know which US president is your least favorite president in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share.